Hi, everybody. I am, as you can see, teaching from home today. I have a pretty bad cough and just having to do this from here. So this video is for those of you who are learning at home. We had a discussion, or the substitute will have a discussion in class that goes something like this. Last week, if you watched the videos, if you were home or if you were in class, we discussed the difference between inherited and acquired traits. We took notes on it. If you haven't done so, please go back to last week's material and make sure you get those notes down and listen to that discussion. But there are two kinds of traits that make you who you are. There are inherited traits. These are the traits that are in your DNA. You get them from mom and dad. You don't have any control over them. These are things like your hair color, your eye color, how tall you're going to be when you're fully grown, whether you have freckles, whether your ears attach at the bottom or if they dangle like most people's do. These are all things that are in your DNA. You don't have any control over them. You got them from mom and dad. They're just sort of, you're born that way. Those are inherited traits. Now, acquired traits, these are traits that are not in your DNA. They're still an important part of who you are. They still make you you, but they're not going to be passed on to your kids in your DNA. These are things like getting a scar, having pierced ears, dyeing your hair, being good at something like a sport or a musical instrument, or being a good artist. All of these are things that you have to develop during your life, and they don't automatically get passed on. So those are the types of traits we talked about last week. And we say that your traits are determined by your DNA, or something called your genes. Now, obviously, it's not the kind of genes that you see here on the screen. This is Geans. These, we're talking about Genes, those kind of genes. They're a piece of your DNA strand. But let's just pretend for a moment that these genes, which are of course not a living thing and don't have DNA, but let's make an analogy and pretend they have inherited and acquired traits. Let's think of the inherited traits as the traits that these genes have when they first come out of the factory. They're part of the original design. And let's just assume that these were normal blue genes to begin with. They didn't have all of these other stains and rips on them when they were first made. They were just normal blue genes. I know you can buy genes like this in the store that are intentionally like this, which I think is ridiculous, but hey, you guys have a better sense of fashion than I do, I guess. But let's just pretend these are normal blue genes. I need you to pause the video in a second, and I want you to think of 4 traits of these genes that would be like inherited traits. Things in the original pattern when these first came out of the factory. Then I want you to think of 4 things that would be like acquired traits. Traits the genes gained after they were purchased. Things that happened to them after they were made in the factory. Pause the video now and please think of 4 of each, maybe jot them down, and then resume the video. Okay, now that you've resumed the video and thought of 4 of each, 4 inherited, 4 acquired, I'll give you some examples here. Inherited traits, of course, would be things like the blue color. That was part of the original design. These started out just a nice blue. The fact that in the original pattern there were 5 pockets. The 2 in the front, the 2 in the back, and that little pocket in the front as well. The belt loops would have been part of the original pattern. The buttons, the zipper, the size, the length, the waist size. The cut of the jeans. Are they boot cut? Are they straight legged? Are they tapered leg? Whatever. Those are all part of the original design. They're part of the blueprint or the pattern when these jeans were made. Now, after these jeans were purchased, some things obviously happened to them. These would be like the acquired traits. Things like the rips and tears in the knee and the legs, the paint stains that are on there, maybe the wrinkles, the fact that the jeans are faded. Maybe they've been stretched out or shrunk in the dryer over time. All of these would be like acquired traits, things that happened after. So the purpose of this was just to review inherited and acquired traits and to relate them as an analogy to something else. At this time, what you need to do is go into Google Classroom and make sure that you do the reading assignment that you'll find there. It's called Heredity Guided Reading. And then check back again tomorrow for more. Thanks, guys.